women have been programmed for a very long time, and that's why they hate the word submitting. They hate hearing a man leading them. Like, luckily with you, I saw by your actions that I trusted you. I trust you to lead my life, our life together. And you also showed me that you care about me.
A lot of women misunderstand. They think by asserting themselves, they think by acting this way, by showing how independent I am and how no one can tell me what to do and I'm going to tell other people what to do. They think that they're displaying how powerful they are and independent they are, but they're actually doing the opposite.
I think that the controlling behavior stems from a fear of being controlled. It's a fear. And so they're hyper doing it because they're afraid of someone else doing it to them. And like you said, I think if you have confidence in yourself and you have self-respect, if you have confidence and self-respect, which they go hand in hand, because you can't have self-respect if you don't have confidence in yourself.
Yeah.
So if you have those things, like you said, if someone comes up to you and says something crazy or your boyfriend does something crazy, you don't have to respond by yelling at him or calling him names. You could just be like, look, I don't want to be with somebody who acts this way.
Yeah.
Like that is what it is. And I think women have been programmed for a very long time to not want to be controlled. So they're afraid of someone controlling them. And that's why they hate the word submitting. They hate hearing a man leading them. They hate these things. And I'm saying this from a woman who was more masculine before I met you and definitely more controlling. And all of the things that we're talking about here. I was never like to that lady's level because that's just like a really immature sort of like all about me thing that she's in right now. But I can see where women get caught up in all this because we've been told for so long, like, don't let a man control you, or like, watch out, like he could do this to you, or like, you know, you don't know what this guy, like we're plugged with so much fear of like a man doing the wrong things, because there have been plenty of men that have done the wrong things to women. And so I understand the fear, but at the same time, just like this woman's doing, Alex to Tim, she is ruining her chances with an actual good guy, an actual guy that will lead her the right way, who does have respect for himself, who will take care of her if she lets go of all this other stuff that she has messed up inside of her. And she doesn't know how to let it go. And like, luckily with you, I saw by your actions that I trusted you. I trust you to lead my life, our life together. And you also showed me that you care about me to the point where I don't feel like you're just making decisions and you're not taking me into consideration. So there's not that need to like butt in. Like, I'm not saying that I never have moments where I want to try to control the situation. That's something I feel like as a woman, we're just we have to work towards.
It's always going to be.
Because even if you read the Empowered Wife book by Laura Doyle, she talks about that. Even the woman who came up with all of these ways to help you stop controlling your husband still tries to control her husband sometimes. So it's like, I'm not saying that I'm perfect. I'm not saying that the women have to be perfect, but there is a huge difference between how controlling this woman is trying to be of this man on Love is Blind and how that is actually very problematic. And like I said, to the point where I definitely wouldn't date her if I was a man, but I wouldn't even maybe be her friend because of how she's acting towards him. And knowing that that's a capability and she would treat me as a friend that way. Like, it's very controlling even in that sense. Like, you can't be controlling in one aspect and not in the other, right? So it's, again, it's like they are doing it in this toxic, like hyper escalated sort of way with the control. Like, and it does stem from fear. Like, she is very afraid of being controlled. And that's why she is very much trying to control every single thing in her life.
And it comes from a lack of understanding of power dynamics, right? So I'll give you a couple examples, right? And some men understand this. I think a lot of men still don't even understand this, but I had a call. I had put together this mastermind group of really successful business people, guys that I know that, one guy is running $100 million business, right? And there was a guy on there that was a very new guy. Like, he had done nothing. He was a young kid, hadn't accomplished much in his life at this point, but I had invited him to it. And he didn't know the other people that were on this call, and he didn't realize that every single person there was worth at least $10 million or more, right? And so when we got on the call, he talked to the one guy who was the guy, probably the most famous person on there.
Mm-hmm.
And he just started giving him all kinds of advice about how he, like, from a standpoint of, oh, let me tell you how you should do things, and just lecturing him on life. And the guy, this extremely successful guy, he didn't, he did not react at all. He he was extremely polite, and he said, "Oh, no, thank you. Thank you I appreciate that." And he just listened to the guy, and he wasn't going to do what he said, because the guy was telling him what to do. And he said, "Yeah, I'm not going to do that, but I do appreciate you giving me that advice. And I do see your viewpoint on that." Right. And so he just completely, and afterwards I was like, I talked to the kid, and I was like, "Do you realize who you were just talking to and what you were just saying to him?" And he was like, "Oh, he didn't seem like he was that." And the whole point of it is, like, this guy was the most powerful person in this room, by far, right? Most successful. He didn't find any need to assert himself, because that's what power does. Like, someone who is actually powerful, right? To actually be powerful is to yield, right? And so it's the same thing, I've been in situations, kind of fighting situations, and there's certain, I've been in a situation where there is a guy that is a trained fighter that's been, UFC type of, like, a guy that you really wouldn't want to mess with. And I've seen this guy in a bar have someone mess with him, and he's polite. He acts like, he doesn't act at all. He's not like, "Do you know who I am? I could kick your ass." And like, he's not, no, he's just, I mean, if you throw a punch at him, he's going to
TKO'd.
Yeah, he's going to mop the floor with you.
Yeah.
But up to that point, he is just not going to assert himself, not going to try and show you how tough he is or any of those things. Like, if you're dumb enough to do it, I mean, if you're reading the signs, you realize when that guy's not reacting and he's acting calm and cool in that situation, that guy is a dangerous guy. And so what I'm saying about this whole thing about power dynamics is that I think a lot of women misunderstand. They think by asserting themselves, they think by acting this way, by showing how independent I am and how no one can tell me what to do, and I'm going to tell other people what to do. They think that they're displaying how powerful they are and independent they are, but they're actually doing the opposite, because it makes you look weak, because everyone sees through it. Whereas if you're truly powerful, you just stand in what you are and who you are. Right. And you don't have to do that. In fact, you yield. Like, yielding is the more powerful thing. That's what a more powerful person does, because they know, because they don't have to display. Like, all that outward display is for you to show yourself, right? Or to try and make up, compensate. It's like, we say when we see a guy with a big pickup truck, you say he's compensating for something. It's the same thing. Like, all these overt displays, and that's why it's just not. It's not accomplishing what a lot of women think that it is. It's actually making them look more weak, even though they might be getting away with it and they might be running over weak guys with that.
They're not happy, even if they do that.
No,
they're not happy with men like that.